Okay, I'm not going to practice this 20 times because it's just not what I do. I have to make a video for my plea for help, seeing that I can't get help anywhere else. Um, GoFundMe is just a joke anymore. Um, so I am a USPS employee who is being treated like I'm of no importance. I injured myself back in August of 2020. How I injured myself? I was coming from a home that had a long front sidewalk that led to the public sidewalk. We are trained, or we were trained, that we are always to be careful when we come off of porches, going upstairs and things like that, and coming down the stairs. So always keep our eyes out. Once we are off the porch, then we are to start looking at the address for the next house. Any mailman for the post office knows this. You have to continue to finger as you walk. Finger as you walk. This is something I've always thought funny. Seeing that they talk about people looking at their cell phones as they walk is something very dangerous to do. But it's all about timing. When you work for the post office, you have to move quickly, but safely. So I came off of this porch of a very big house, and it had a long front sidewalk. When I came off of the porch, I looked forward. It was a very sunny day. Looked like a straight concrete sidewalk to me. Saw that, looked at my mail, started walking. Now, normally we walk to the side, but this house had a long fence on the side of it, separating it from the next house over. So I had to walk straight forward to the public sidewalk. In this walk, I collapsed. And that's because in the middle of that sidewalk, there were two stairs. Two stairs I didn't see. And I was busy making sure I had all my mail for the next house. All my weight came down on my left leg. And therefore, my leg went completely backwards. And I mean completely backwards. I tore my ACL, sprained my MCL, and damaged my peroneal nerve. It has been 2 years. Now, I easily got approved for workers' comp. I started receiving payments very quickly. But I was damaged a lot, and was first asked back to work prematurely because they misunderstood my doctor's orders. And that lasted for about 2 days because I started having pain from just 2 hours of work because they had me standing for 2 hours. Come to find out, I shouldn't have been standing for 2 hours in one place. So the doctor said, "What are you doing? What are you doing at work?" So they misunderstood my doctor's orders and said, "Oh, well, we're sorry." So, long story short, I was getting paid for over a year, until last year when they hadn't called me back to work for over a year. And I was like, okay, I can't live off of $1,200 a month. That's how much I was getting from workers' comp. $1,280 to be exact a month, when my rent was $1,400 a month. If it wasn't for my fiance, who was alive then, I wouldn't know how I would have made it. So last November, I got a job working out of my home, only because I can't do any job standing up. And I want everyone to know I was always an athletic person. I was always physically able to do anything. I was a carpenter before I became a postal worker. Yes, I am 58 years old. I started working for the post office at 55. And I had no problem with walking that 8 to 10 miles a day. And that's something that some of these young 20-something-year-olds don't seem to like very much. But I didn't mind that. I wanted a physical job. Now I will never work a physical job again. I've been told this by their appointed doctor that I will never deliver mail again. I know this. I can't walk further than a mile, if I'm lucky, without pain. No doctor will will repair my ACL. Two of them have already said, we just don't think it should be done. And because of the risk. And the risk is my peroneal nerve runs along the left side of that knee. They will have to secure that nerve in order to do that surgery. And that's very risky, seeing that nerve is already damaged. They don't want to touch it. I don't blame them. I don't want it to be touched either, because right now my foot hardly works. My nerve has only repaired itself above my ankle. It has gotten to a 70% working status, but my foot has remained at 15% working status. As of last March, they stopped paying me. They stopped paying me because they said my HR department will not respond with the information that they need. They didn't let me know. They didn't contact me. They didn't give me anything to go by. They just shut me off. So when I saw this happen, and I'm like, what's going on? Because mind you, I was working from my home. I was doing everything I was required to do, which was submit my pay stubs. I know that they're supposed to pay me the difference between what I make with the post office and what I'm bringing home at home, which is only $13 an hour. And they're supposed to pay me the difference. Well, for 4 months, they were just paying me as if they weren't getting my check stubs. So they're saying, well, we overpaid you anyway. Well, I can guarantee you by now they're paid back, because I haven't gotten anything since March. They weren't supposed to stop paying me. They were supposed to adjust the payments, recalculate the payments. But they can't do that because the United States Postal Service doesn't respond to them. Doesn't respond to the Department of Labor. And guess what the Department of Labor told me? There's nothing they can do. They're the Department of Labor. The Department of Labor cannot make the U.S. Department of the United States Postal Service do their job. So I said, well, I'll get you the information you need to know. You need to know what all they need to know was, what would my income be today if I were in the same position as I was when I got injured? What would my income be today? The post office has a hard time answering that question. So they just ignore them. They responded once with, she made $19 an hour back then. They said, that's not what we need to know. We need to know what would she be making now if she was in that position today. They can't answer that question. They won't. They haven't. So the Department of Labor says, I don't know what to tell you. We can't get them to answer, and we can't do nothing without them answering, so maybe you should talk to them, maybe. So what is I do? I call them. They don't call me back. I leave messages. They don't call me back. I can never get a hold of them. They never answer the phone. So I'm in limbo. So I go to make sure that my insurance stays, going, because I work for the post office. Of course, I have insurance, right? New enrollment comes. I go to enroll. They say, well, you got to enroll with the Department of Labor. You got to do that change there. So I do that. What did they tell me? Post office says you never had any insurance with them. Yet I have a whole bunch of cards showing I did. I have my original cards and my new ones from the next year. I even have bills that have been paid. They told the Department of Labor I've never had insurance with them. This is the United States Postal Service. I told her they're obviously lying because I can give you proof, and I sent them that proof. Do you know what the Department of Labor said? We can't take that from you. We have to accept what they told us. This is why I am pleading for help, because I need to sue the pants off of them. They owe me because the rest of my life is messed up. They owe me. They can't just leave me dangling. I'm still a U.S. employee, not getting paid. I get check stubs every 2 weeks that say 0 because they're not going to fire me. They want me to quit. They want me to give up, and I refuse. I can't get a lawyer. Nobody will take my case. People are like, oh, there's lawyers that'll take your case and they'll give you, you don't have to pay them. That's not true. I've tried. Everyone says, well, you got $2,000. Do you got $5,000? They need a retainer fee. Nobody wants to fight the post office. Yeah. I can't be left like this. This is not only unfair, I just lost my fiance 2 months ago due to government neglect. I have a daughter to take care of who is developmentally delayed. I have me to take care of. I have worked my ass off since I was 17. Excuse my French, I apologize. But I'm angry, and I have much reason to be, because I'm a hard worker. I loved my job. I was not one of those weak people for the post office who wants to just walk off their job because it's hard work. I loved my job. But they showed me what they think of me, and I'm not quitting. I need help to raise that little $5,000 retainer fee that these lawyers seem to need so bad, because I know I have a case. I know I do. So either someone tell me what lawyer I can get and what lawyer wants to work for me and get paid later when I win, or help me get $5,000 together. Please.